all, welcome back to Mirror Expressions, a channel where I take the time to share a little bit of myself with you all. And I invite y'all to come on in and do the same with me. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and let me know how you are doing. If you have looked in the mirror today and you are feeling A1 with what you see looking back at you, go ahead and drop me a mirror emoji down in the chat. And if you have not, or you're not feeling like, hey, what I see looking back at me is A-okay right now, then do what you must to get back to a healthier you. All right, y'all. We are season 16, episode 6. We are finally starting to get some action, see these couples actually move and move and like getting to know each other better, like bringing off that little facade, you know what I'm saying? So we're getting some action. So this episode was called You Dropped a Bomb on Me, right? And it's day 6 of marriage. Dom and McKinley, they're waking up to each other, talking to each other with their morning breath. I can't. I don't know. Like, is it just a me thing? Or, like, how do y'all feel about talking to people with your morning breath? Like, do you not, like, I'm all for getting up, washing your face and brushing your teeth and getting back in the bed and still having some cold time and some bedroom talk, but I just straight away, I'm just, like, I don't even like kissing nobody, like, cause I don't want to taste nobody else's nasty breath, and I don't want nobody to taste mine. Like, is that just a me thing? Let me know. But anyway, so yeah, they're all talking in their morning breath, and they're just discussing, like, what they're going to do for the day. And to the camera, Dom is telling us that she's a 6.5 on the scale out of 1 through 10 when it comes to her attraction to Mac. She says romantically, they're at about a 3 or a 4. And she said that's mostly because he just jokes way too much. So we end up seeing her FaceTime her mom. And of course, Mama wants to know how things are going. So she tells her that Mac is not as adventurous as she is. And he's apprehensive to try new things. And so, and then she goes on to tell her mom that she doesn't know that, like, when he jokes, if he's being real or not, or when he's just trying to just be funny or whatever. So mom said, well, maybe he's wanting you to push him out of his comfort zone. Like, maybe that's what he's needing and wanting from you. So over with Clint and Gina, they're having breakfast as well too, all off in the pool. And so in her confessional, she says that she and Clint get along well, right? I said, oh, child, it's just a matter of time. That's all I was thinking. It's just a matter of time. But yeah, she was saying that they get along well. It's just a matter of them working on their chemistry and attraction to each other. So back in the pool, she ends up asking him what is he most excited about when they get back to Nashville or whatever. And so he said to take her out on his boats, right? And she said she doesn't usually relax a whole lot when she's at home. And so he was just like, okay, well, I'm going to have to make you relax, you know. So, of course, this leads her into talking about her business, you know. Now, when Lifetime first did this at their wedding, I think it was at the reception, they made it seem like she was just going on and on and on and on and on and on again about her business. I was just like, Lifetime, y'all wrong for that. She's just talking about it, filling him in. But now when I look back on that moment, maybe it was how they made it appear, because baby, she really does. She will talk about this business. Everything is going to go back to this business some kind of way, some shape, form, or fashion. It does not matter what the conversation is. She's going to make it go back to this business, and she gets long-winded about it, right? know. I put in here, I noticed that while they're talking, she looks away often. Like, she doesn't give him a lot of direct contact, eye contact. She looks away often. Like, she'll divert those eyes. Like, to me, that's kind of like, I'm not really attracted to what's standing in front of me. Yeah, that's just the impression I get. You know, that she's just not really physically attracted to him, and so she doesn't want to continue to look at him like that. So, or he's just not holding her attention like that. So anyway, Clint said, you know, he's tired of hearing about the job or whatever. At some point, she does say that they will get irritated with one another. At some point she says they would get irritated with one another. And I was just like, little does she know it's coming a lot sooner than later. So Clint says he's tired of hearing about the salon, which I would be too at this point. And, you know, I just have to agree with him on that, you know, because me as a viewer, I'm tired of hearing about it at this point too. So he said in his confessional that it's preventing him from knowing much of anything else about her. And I can see that. I can see that. I think that her thing is, I don't know, I've heard this before, that some people are questioning if she's just on here to promote her business. And Clint even says it later on during this episode at some point. But I think that she just has not separated herself. Like, she has poured so much of herself into her business and bringing it to fruition that she just doesn't know where that ends and she actually begins as a person. And she has to learn how to separate herself. But that also tells me that she's not really giving herself any kind of self-care. You know what I'm saying? She's not putting up healthy boundaries. Like, work is work, home is home, you know. So I think that's all her problem is. I don't think she's on here just to promote her business. I don't get those vibes. I just feel like she's just lost in her business. And she doesn't realize that that's all she talks about. I don't think she's aware. I hope maybe she becomes aware when she watches these episodes back. But yeah, I don't think she has any self-awareness that that's what she's doing. And so anyway, that's all I got on them. So over with Airris and Jasmine, they go get some couple massages, right? And Jasmine is talking about Airris not ever being in love and how that's making her question if the way she shows love will be enough for him. Right? Sorry, y'all. And so while they're getting their massages, she tells him that don't drop any more bombs on me. He said he didn't feel like there was a bomb. He didn't feel like telling her that he's never been in love was dropping a bomb. And so he says, I'm not going to spend my time in Jamaica thinking about hypotheticals. I said, oh, okay. I really just don't like him, y'all. Like, he's not doing it for me. I'm not feeling him. I don't think he's cute. I hear a lot of people say they don't think he looks 40 years old or 39, if we want to be exact. But he looks it to me like, and then it's like his face doesn't move when he talks, like he doesn't have any expressions, and he's so dry, and he doesn't do it for me. He just doesn't. Now, he may be a totally different person, but the way he comes across my TV, it's like, ugh, self-centered, spoiled, emotionally immature. So anyway, y'all, tell me why Jasmine got up after her massage was done and went to continue to give him a whole nother massage. Like, She started with his feet, his legs, his upper body. I'm just like, did he not just get the same massage that you got? Like, why are you rubbing him? And not once did he try to say, okay, well, let me do you. You know? Ugh, I don't know. So anyway, as she's rubbing him, she says other than cuddling, they really haven't been touchy-feely or whatever. And so he said, considering that they just married a stranger, he feels like they're going at a comfortable pace. So Jasmine's like, but I feel like you're being sarcastic. He said no. Her thing is, he just was asking her the other day about her favorite sexual position, but now he doesn't seem interested. And that is setting off bells for her. I said, it's setting off bells for me that y'all both just got a massage. And here you are still rubbing this man down. He didn't try to return the favor or anything. That's what's setting off bells for me. Like, girl, trust, you don't just jump in the bed with him. You do not. So Nicole and Chris, they're sitting out on a hammock together and they're just talking about cuddling with each other versus having sex. And she says that she's actually appreciating the cuddling better. And Chris agrees. He says that he wants to wait and work on their emotional connection, but that he doesn't want her to feel like she's not wanted by him if he's not initiating sex or whatever. Chris said he only had sex 3 times in his prior relationship. And I said, wow, 3 times? And they were together, like, I think he said a year and a half, maybe. I'm gonna say I know he said at least a year. I think he said a year and a half. And I was like, 3 times? I wonder, only way I could see that happening is if maybe they waited and then once they started having sex, that's when the relationship ended. But if they were having sex off top and they only had 3 times the whole time, oh, something ain't right. But anyway, and then he said, so that happened in one of his last relationships. And in the other, he said he felt they used sex as like a Band-Aid, you know. So Nicole comes with her similar stories as well. Y'all, they're not doing anything but trauma bonding. Like, that's all they're doing at this point. But she did tell him that when they do have sex, she wants to know that he's enjoying sex specifically with her and not just the act of the sex itself. And that makes sense. Like, oh, this sex is good. No, this sex is good with you. You know what I'm saying? So he said he would want the same. Yeah, they're just trauma bonding and they're speaking to those insecure parts of themselves. So anyway, all the couples end up getting together for the first times, right? So they're like out sitting under like this little gazebo out by the beach. And Shaq and Kirsten talk about, they let the group in on why they were late getting to the resort and kicking off their honeymoon. Dom ends up asking the group if anyone has had their first disagreements. And so Clint said that things have been smooth for him and Gina. Max said that he and Dom are progressing and working through each other's quirks. Dom says she is struggling to understand his sense of humor, if he's just joking or if there's like some actual truth behind it. And so Kirsten gonna put her 2 cents in. She's just like, there's always some truth behind some jokes. And I agree. I really do. Because I think sometimes people use jokes to kind of say what they really mean. Because maybe they think that they're doing better by putting it in a joke versus just being straight up and saying how they feel. But to me, just joking about it versus just actually addressing things, that's just kind of being passive aggressive about things. And yeah, so I agree with her. There's probably some truth into those things. So anyway, Nicole said Chris is patient and calming, and she's great for that. She also tells them that they have decided to work on their emotional connection before having sex, although her original plans was to get it in by day 2 of the honeymoon. So Aries ends up bringing up the fact that he's 39 and has never been in love. And how that was a shock to Jasmine. Whole time, y'all, Jasmine was in the background looking all meek and mild. I don't know. Have y'all noticed, like, she seems to disappear in the crowd. Like, she seems to, like, her personality is not huge. Like, so I feel like it gets ate up by everybody else's personality. And she kind of just blends into the back. Like, she's not very vocal. She's real quiet. And I think that's not going to be good. Because I don't see her really probably speaking up on a lot of things that she probably should be speaking up on. So, but we'll see how that progresses. That's just kind of what I'm picking up on right now. So anyway, Clint then asked her if he's blown her back out yet. So wasn't that? It couldn't be me, y'all. That could not have been me. How inappropriate. How inappropriate. So Kirsten asked, like, where did that come from? So then we're given a look back at, like, a moment when all the guys were together for their bachelor parties. Like, this is before the weddings or whatever. And so Aries is telling them that his soon-to-be wife is somewhere preparing to get her back blown out by him in a couple of days. So then Clint asked if anybody has seen their partner naked. Everybody said no. And Aries says he's a very sexual person, but it hasn't been good for him. So he's trying to do things a little differently this time around. Jasmine didn't really say anything, but the other ladies started speaking up, you know. In her confessional now, Jasmine does say that she's still confused by Aries. Because, you know, he's saying all these things. Like she said, she thinks he tried to explain why he's not really trying anything with her. Like, put it in a nice way. But she just doesn't know. So she's still confused, right? She wants to know why he's not making a move on her, basically. Jasmine really want to get it in without saying she really want to get it in. So Kirsten ends up saying that she told Shaq how she wasn't physically attracted to him, but that he checks off all the other boxes. So she feels the physical attraction will come later. Gina brings up being in a similar relationship and how that physical attraction ended up growing. And she brings up how she and Clint are kind of struggling in that area, although they have kissed several times. So this is when Clint brings up that the girls he typically dated were athletic and slender, right? So all the women were looking like, what the hell, you know? And I would have been too, like, again, Clint, you're inappropriate. Like, you're just inappropriate. And so Dom in her confession said, dude, you're in a room with all curvy women. Why would you say that? And so, and now that I'm thinking about it, like when she said that, I was just like, you know what? That's pretty right. This is, because, you know, they usually do have all, like, thin women. And, you know, this season, the women are a little thicker. So, I'd probably say, except for maybe Jasmine, it's still like slender. But anyway, yeah, she's just like, why would you say that? So Clint goes on to say how Gina says she doesn't like redheads. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, yada, yada, yada. And the whole mood just kind of shifted, like the whole atmosphere. So they end up going horseback riding as a group. And I said, oh, baby, that Kirsten is thick with it. Do you hear me, baby? She is shapely. I said, okay, girl, I see you, boo. I see you. Oh, baby is snatched. Do you hear me? So Gina says she's trying to stay open-minded, although she felt slapped in the face by what Clint said. And he keeps on with the rude jokes, y'all. Like, he is horrible. Talking about, nobody has rode anything the whole honeymoon, so at least we're getting a ride now. Like, stop it, Clint. Just stop it. You're disgusting. Just stop it. Like, bruh, everybody was over him, y'all. Everybody. I think even the guys were looking like, okay, slow your roll, brother. Slow your roll. But anyway, Meg ends up telling Dom that he's never ridden a horse before. And Shady Production takes us back to them talking about, with their morning breath, talking about how he's ridden a ton of horses and da-da-da-da-da. And so Dom is like, what the hell? I'm just tripping to see these ladies riding these horses in these swimsuits, y'all. I just really am. Like, their bare thighs on that saddle. I was like, oh, child. I would need at least some shorts on or something. But, I think maybe the saddles are different. I tried to look up close, but because that's all I was thinking. Like, I've gone horseback riding several times, or a few times, I'll say. And yeah, it's not anything I would want to do bare thigh. It was not. But anyway, needless to say, they're riding through the water when one of the horses kind of poops on Mac. And of course, he did not enjoy it. He did not enjoy his horse riding experience. And y'all, why did they show a pile of horse poop on the screen? Like, what's up? Why y'all do that? Y'all could have done without that, for real. So, Eris and Jasmine are out talking on the beach or whatever. And Eris brings up how Gina and Clint low-key called each other ugly in a nice way. So Jane said she doesn't think she would be able to do that. And Eris said, yeah, that's the level of maturity that he doesn't know he would ever get to. I don't know if y'all peeped this, but when he said that, Jasmine was like, okay? Because, yeah, she's questioning his maturity, which is not their jazz. It's not. Like, pay attention to the red flags. Don't ignore them. Do not ignore them. But anyways, then he brings up how Nicole said she was ready to get down for the get down on day 2, but now she has decided to wait. He thinks that because she did that she is not into Chris. Like, she is allowed to change her mind, and people talk all kinds of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But then when you actually get into a situation, you never really know how you're going to act until you get there. You know what I'm saying? And so she can change her mind, you know? And so I like how Jazz did this. She said, well, people can say the same thing about you because you said the same thing and now it's nothing. I said, boom. Exactly. Because he's trying to project his feelings onto Nicole and Chris because he was talking all this stuff and now he doesn't feel it. He's not into Jasmine like that. And so he's trying to project how he's feeling onto Nicole and Chris. But anyway, he said, I was just in the moment, you know. And I said, okay, so now he's trying to backpedal. You never know how you're going to act. You think you have it figured out and then boom, there's this stranger. He ends by saying backs will get blown out in due time when they should get blown out. I said, yeah, right. So in his confession, though, he said he's only getting friend vibes from Jazz. I said, yep. That's why he's trying to speak up for Nicole and how she is feeling towards Chris, because that's how he is really feeling. So he was talking all this smack, and now he's not feeling any romantic vibes toward his wife. So he said he's going to to try to just look at that as being a positive thing, that he's not having sex with his wife right now. Because, like he said before, it never goes well for him, you know. So Gina and Clint are out swinging out on the beach, and the conversation is sparse. Like, it is not happening. Like, I see Clint trying to engage Gina, but yeah, Gina is still feeling some type of way from earlier, as she should. Not saying she shouldn't, as she should. And so, yeah, it's just not happening. So, not much to see there. So then we see Dom and Mac, and they're on their personal cam discussing how she rated him a 4 earlier and why. So they're in their bedroom, right? And so they're discussing that, and he said that she did that because she rated him that low because he complained about riding the horses. He's introverted. And so she was just like, don't make excuses, just do better. I said, don't come in like she's in a drill, like she's a drill sergeant or something. So at some point, Dom gets frustrated and knocks like the personal cam over the diary cam. And she was just like, she's not gonna do it anymore. And I think Mac was like, are you angry? And she was just like, yeah. Like, I don't know exactly what she got angry about. Like, I kind of rewound that to see if I had missed what had been said, but like, he literally didn't say anything that I felt would tip somebody off, tick somebody off. So I don't know, but there might be one of those editing things where it just kind of, they cut and paste some stuff together, and just we see her at this point getting frustrated and no longer wanted to do the diary cam. So anyway, Shaq and Kirsten, they go take them a dance class. They actually look like they were having a good time. And so in her confessional, she said that she is loving Shaq's personality despite not being physically attracted to him. I said, okay, y'all, okay. You know, I might be a little wrong about them, even though I don't think so. But for the moment, they seem to be having a good time. I do hope that they do start to have some romantic feelings for each other. I really do. But anyway, Chris and Nicole, they go kayaking. Y'all, why were they struggling to get their kayak off the beach? Off the bank of the beach. I said, oh my goodness, like, don't you know you gotta push it into the water? Both of them just got in and started paddling. I said, oh, child. Oh, my goodness. That was too funny. So they finally get it going. So they're out on the water. And Nicole said that kayaking is the perfect metaphor for marriage. Because they don't know what they're doing, but they will figure it out along the way. I said, yeah, because y'all sure don't know what y'all doing when it comes to that kayaking. Yeah, anyway, Chris, they're out on the water, right? So Chris ends up like sprinkling some water on her shoulders and some bag. And it wasn't like this. Like, he literally just kind of picked his hand up and just kind of dripped it down her. You know, he was like, you know, I'm just cooling you off. And she said, actually, that's a pet peeve for me. I said, oh, Nicole, you better not make a huge deal out of this man trying to cool you off with some water. But she didn't. But she was saying she did go on to say that was one of her pet peeves, especially like when they're in a pool and she gets splashed. Like, I can see that. But Nicole, that ain't what he did in that moment. He didn't splash no type of water. He literally dunked his hand in and just dripped it down your back. Like, so how can you even compare the two? But yeah. So the conversation then shifts to like, well, what are some more of your pet peeves? And my pet peeves are yada, yada, yada. So, another one of hers, she said, was like slow moving people. And he said his is like dishes being left in the sink. And then mine said he only does his laundry once a month. Like, what? Huh? Once a month? Like, dude, I know you out there wearing nasty, dirty clothes over and over. If you're only doing, because I know you ain't got 30 pairs of drawers. You don't even look like you. Come on there, Chris. Come on there. And then them dogs everywhere. And you only doing laundry. Oh, child. I was just like, say, what now? Oh, then he said, he could be lazy and he's afraid that that would turn her off. And Nicole said, but you work hard, so you should relax at home. So they make a plan to be lazy during the week, but when the weekends come, do more adventurous things together. Now, I will say, even though that's absurd to me to do laundry once a month, I will say I do like how they are trying to reassure each other, like doing the things that could come across as negative or turn off, like how they are trying to support each other in how they're used to living, but also compromising and making other plans. Like, okay, we're doing the week. If that's your norm, yeah. But on the weekends, let's make sure we're doing something together and let's be a little bit more adventurous. So I like that, I think they need to get away from all that trauma bonding, and I think they could kind of be great if they do. You know what I'm saying? They seem to be working well together, at least right now. So anyway, the ladies get together, the men get together as well. So we gonna kind of get a whole back and forth. So Clint, he wearing that same doggone shirt, talking about he's glad they got together because they need to verbally detox. Okay, verbally detox, like so Chris said that he and Nicole are good. She holds his hand a lot more than he would like for her to, but for the most part, he's not seeing any kind of red flags. They both bring up that neither one of them have lived with a significant other before. So, like, that's a concern because we see him talking about it with the guys, and we see Nicole also bring it over with the ladies. So, Clint said he thinks that Nicole would kick his ass and that he needs to learn how to stand his ground. Like, Clint, who are you? Really, dude. Like, who are you? Chris said, well, I feel like we balance each other out. That's right. Take up for your wife and y'all and the relationship that y'all are building. Like, don't let Clint come in with his Clint nanigans like he really know what he's talking about. Dude is over 40 years old, and look where he is. He's still there. He's the same place y'all is. So him trying to part advice like he know what's up, like don't do it. Don't do it. It's just like I tell my best friend, like, she's married. I'm not married. Like, don't come to me about your marital problems, because I'm not married. I ain't never been married, so I'm probably not the best person to give you advice. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Clint, just hush, dude, just hush. But he does it. He going on and on. He just being awesome, rah, 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 like down Chris's throat. She's gonna test you. She's gonna stomp on you. You better make sure that y'all keep that balance. And Chris in his confessional said he wouldn't have said all the things that Clint said, at least that way, but it's just Clint being Clint. No, it ain't just Clint being Clint. It's Clint being Clint because y'all just allowed it, like, stand up to that old fart. Clint ain't nobody. He ain't got no more wisdom than y'all when it comes to this thing. So anyway, with the ladies, Dom is telling them that Matt complains often and that it's a turn off for her. Mac tells the guys that he's introverted, and so that everything he's doing, like the horseback riding, what they went sailboating, it's just all overwhelming for him. And he brings up how Dom doesn't know if he's being truthful or just joking. So he's trying to find a good common ground, a good compromise, because he doesn't want to come off, excuse me, y'all. He doesn't want to come across as an idiot and continue to use his humor as a coping mechanism. I said, boom, like I said, that's exactly what he's doing. Like, he's nervous I think he's nervous, he's awkward, and he's using his jokes as a coping mechanism. And that's just not the best thing. Like, instead of just being confident enough to stand in, like, hey, I don't like this, but I'm willing to try. He's trying to make these jokes, or, like when they was at the dinner, he was like, oh, I made this table, I made the flowers, the candles, and the dinner. Instead of just kind of having an adult conversation, it was just like, okay, let me try to be funny, and your jokes just are not landing. Like, so anyway, Clint got something to say about that. He got to speak up on everything. So he tells Mac that he can't curtail things starting off because you have to be 100% you. And I agree with him about being who you are, but there's always room for growth, Clint. Just being who you are and not leaving room open for growth. Now that's like, there's always room for growth. Like, you can be yourself, and like Max said, he's trying to find a compromise. He didn't say he's just trying to completely change who he is, because a relationship is about two individuals coming together. So there has to be compromise. There's give and take on both ends. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about changing yourself, but there's always room for growth. And if he sees this as a growth moment, allow him to have that. Like, Clint, shut up. You are like really getting on my nerves. You know what I'm saying? Don't gas him up like acting like an immature idiot is okay. And that if she doesn't accept it, then she's not the one. Like, I just really hope that the other guys are not taking Clint's advice. Because, like, bro, like I said, he on the same show as you all. He's a lot older than y'all. So what does that tell y'all? But I am glad Mac did kind of stand up to him, because he was like, well, he's here to compromise. So that's right, Mac. You stay true to what you feel. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, with the latest, Kirsten said that Shaq's sense of humor can be the same as far as being too much and not funny at times. So with the guys, Shaq tells them that Kirsten tells him he needs to stop giving speeches like she calls him Martin Luther King. Like, are you being Martin Luther King right now, or are you being Shaq? That was kind of funny. And I can see that too. Now I can see that. And I'm thinking like last week's episode when she said she wants him to not talk at her, but talk with her or to her. I think that's probably what she was trying to say, because I couldn't figure that out for a while, but I think this is what she's meaning. Like, she doesn't want him to come off like he's like with his students giving like a motivational speech or something. And I definitely can see him doing that or whatever. So he tells them that she on the other hand is not being vulnerable at all with him. Jasmine tells the ladies that Aries says she's pretty and all that, but he's not trying to rip her clothes off. And the ladies also point out that she's quiet. I said, I said that because to me, like I said, she just seems to disappear. Like, and some people are just like that, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but I do hope that she's able to be vocal when it's needed. Like, I hope she doesn't allow Aries to run over her or whatever. But yeah. So she also tells them that him not being in love or having ever experienced being in love is a red flag for her. Aries ends up telling the guys that out of 1 through 10, Jasmine is like So out of a scale of 1 to 10, Jazz is like a 12 when it comes to him. Like, in her eyes, he's saying that he will be a 12 to her. Y'all get it? So he's kind of put himself up here on her scale of what she would be feeling. Like, how can you say that? You don't know that. But on his scale, how he feels, he's down here. Like, you can't say that. So, yeah. So, you cannot put words in her mouth. But that's what he's saying, that she's like a 12. She thinks of him as like being a 12. But for him, to her, she is like a 4 or a 5. And so he said he feels kind of guilty for that. So, because she wins all these beauty pageants, so she has to be beautiful, but she's just not my type. He likes women with big butts, basically. And that just brought me back to one of the after shows. And I think Keisha was asking him, well, what is your type? And he was talking about something. I don't know. I just know it when I see it. No, you do know, because you just said you like women with big booties. And she just doesn't have it. I said, Shaq, you better watch out, because, baby, Kirsten got that donk, and she got them hips. Keep an eye on your wife, Shaq, because Eris might slick be trying to check her out, baby. Her little juicy peach. So anyway, the ladies all want to know how Gina is feeling after Clint said what he said. Of course, I would be wanting to know that too. And so they all kind of agreed that Clint was out of line and that what he said was offensive. She said that she decided to table the conversation that particular day, but that the next morning she woke up fuming hot about it. So she goes on to say that she is slender and athletic. And Nicole was ready to ride for her, baby. She said, don't come for my girls. I like Nicole. She said she is, she asked her Nicole asked Gina if she is willing to work on it or if they need to. I said, yeah, Nicole ready to ride for her girl. And so Gina did say that she was going to work on it though. So over with the guys, we see Max saying how Clint said that Gina was thicker than what he likes. And Clint said, I didn't say that. I said, I typically date more slender. I said, okay. So this is what we're really going to do. This is what we're really going to do. We're going to play semantics now. Is that what we really going to do? So, talking about he's conscious of people's feelings. Oh, are you really, Clint? With your tasteless jokes, you're conscious of people's feelings? Oh, okay. I said, man, please. So anyway, he ultimately said that it's not about that. It's about her constantly talking about her salon. Then say that. Say that, because you're making it seem like it's about her body type. And if it's not about that, then why even bring it up and say something about it? You know what I'm saying? So it has him, anyway, her constantly talking about her salon has him questioning her intentions. Like, is she really here for promo or for love? And like I said, I really think she's just lost in her business. I don't think she has ill intentions on this for being on the show, but I can probably see how it could come across like that. But anyway, Mac ends up speaking up for her, and he's just like, you know, when you pour your heart into something, you tend to talk about it a lot. And Max said, I think Gina is sexy. You're crazy. He told Clint, you're crazy. She's gorgeous. I said, okay. I like that Max stood up for her. So anyway, so in his confession, Mac was like, I don't know what type of girls Clint usually deals with, but I don't see him pulling anybody better looking than Gina. I said, well, damn, tell us how you really feel. So, Mac and Dom, they go carve their initials into some bamboo. Like, they're just out and about walking. And so, they end up talking, and he apologizes, and he really did seem sincere to her. He apologizes to her about always joking, and just how he's recognizing that it doesn't work, and how he was thinking that it did. And so he wants her to know that what he really wants to try to convey is, with all the joking, is that he normally wouldn't do the things that they are doing or that they have done, but he's doing these things because Dom wants to, and he wants to be with her, and that he likes that she is pushing him out of his comfort zone. I said, oh, okay. Mama knew what she was talking about, because that was the same exact thing that her mama had just told her on the phone like the day before. And so Dom's response was like, I don't want excuses, I just want results. I said, okay, Dom, like, can we just be a little bit softer with him, baby? Dom is like a no-nonsense type of person, baby. And she was just like, if you're going to do it, just do it. Like, don't complain. And I do get that. Like, I wouldn't want to be like with somebody that complain all the time either. Like, if you're going to do something, let's do it and enjoy it, you know, because if you're sitting complaining the whole time, like, you're not allowing yourself to just enjoy that moment or whatever, right? So I get her on that. So anyway, Shaq and Kirsten, they catch each other up on what they talked about when they were with the ladies and with the guys, right? And so Kirsten tells him how all the ladies are upset with Clint because of what he said. And so Shaq asked her, well, do you think that Clint was wrong? And she said, well, it was the way he said it. And Shaq then says, well, even Eric said that he's not attracted to Jasmine. And Kirsten said, but he just said yesterday that she was beautiful. and she's like, why would he say that? Kirsten, that's a question for Eric and not for your husband. Oh, that is not for Shaq to answer. But anyway, he does go on to say that maybe basically he didn't want to hurt her feelings, so that's why he probably said it. So Kirsten said, well, I am going to always tell you what I say, whether you're around or not. So she tells him, you know, how she was telling the ladies how he plays too much. And Shaq is like, so one, you're not physically attracted to me, and you don't like my sense of humor. Well, what do you like about me? And Kirsten said, you know, it's okay to have a sense of humor, just not all the time. It's a time and a place for everything. So she gives him an example of like when they first made it to the resorts, and we see the flashback of him joking or clowning her about how she was looking going through the airport, struggling with all of her bags, and him just mocking her and laughing about this whole situation. So in his confession, Shaq said he won't change who he is. And if it's a problem, he doesn't know if they will be compatible. I said, see, you done got Clint in your head talking all this ish. Like, you got to be willing to compromise. You got to be willing to compromise. So anyway, Shaq said that with her guard up, he doesn't know if he's doing right or wrong. And so she ends up telling him that he doesn't know how to take criticism. He said he's just trying to understand her. She says, well, be you, honey. That was so flippant. Like, be you, honey. Like, I'm done talking about this. And he says, but I don't know how not to joke. And so she's like, I don't want to change you. You know, I just want you to be more aware. I want to know a more serious side of you. There's a time and a place. He said, well, I can respect that because you're seeing where we need to go without all the fluff, like without all of the jokes and all of that. So they end up coming to an agreement, and they laugh, and they hug it out. I was going to say kiss, but we know they're not kissing, but they do hug it out. And they kind of just joke about how they have officially had their first disagreement. I do like how there was some type of resolution there and that they didn't just leave things hanging. So I do like how they did that. Okay, so Aries and Jazz, they're laying out on the beach and they're catching up each other as well about what they talked about when they were with the guys or with the girls. And so Jazz told them how they talked about how he she tells him how they talked about how Aries has never been in love and how she feels pressure behind that, right? And so he just says that he sees it as a good challenge. He would love to be somebody's first love. No, sir. No, sir. Someone will be your first love, but you're not going to be their first love. So she tells him it doesn't take a lot for her to fall in love. Here he goes. Well, it take a lot for me. Yeah, we know. We know. She ends up telling him that she's in a place where she doesn't know she needs to hold back because she doesn't want to be all in and he isn't, basically. He said, I think you need to just pump your brakes. This is awkward. She said, well, it doesn't feel awkward for me. He said he just needs time. He said he knows that they will have peaks and valleys, but he's ready. He's here and he's ready for all of that. Him saying that for her made her feel reassured that he was in it for the long haul. And I'm thinking like, girl, no, it was, or at least it should not have been, because he on some old F-boy stuff, I still believe. But anyway, Gina and Clinton end up meeting up. And so she tells him that she was offended by his comment about the weight thing. And Clint is still out here playing games. He's still playing semantics, talking about, I didn't say slender enough. And so he ends up bringing up how she says she's not attracted to gingers. And so she then brings up, well, I had an ex that was a ginger. And he asks her, do you think that using the term ginger is offensive? And she says that as a hairstylist, I worked on redheads a lot. And they say the same thing. She kept it up about being a hairstylist and working with redheads. And that's how she was justifying things like, what does your job have to do with any of this? And I said, that's just like somebody saying, I'm not a racist. I have black friends. One of my best friends is black. Like, girl, no. Girl, no. Anyway, he does eventually apologize that, and he says that his intent was not to offend her or anyone else. And she said, wait a minute. He says that his intent was not to offend her. And so she goes on to say, well, it didn't just offend me, it offended everyone in the room. Y'all, things went left real quick at this point. I mean, it just went so left. And so she said, I need somebody who can read a room. And if you can't do that by making comments in a room full of women who have curves, then that's a problem. You don't see anything wrong with that? And he said, no, I'm just being real. And she said, I think it's best if we spend time apart for the rest of the honeymoon. She said, I'm done. And so she walks off, right? And he said, well, you should be done. And so, as she's walking away, he's still talking. I said, oh, this is just petty, childish, like, and at the same time, he's trying to call her out for being childish. And he's sitting there he's throwing a whole tantrum. Like, if the lady walking away, just let her walk away. And then y'all can come back and readdress this both once both of you all have calmed down and processed things, because now you sit up here yelling behind her that she's this, she's that, and da 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 da. And I'm just like, dude, your actions are just as immature. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm about to knock over the whole camera trying to scratch my legs. So anyway, he said, you know, when she loses, she defaults to walking away. That's how she's gonna handle things. And he said this has been a game for her, and she's just looking for a way out, and she's villainizing him. And yeah, it was just a whole mess. Actually, personally, I think that both of them are wrong. Both of them were in the wrong. Like, neither one of them handled that situation well. He shouldn't have said what he said about the weight thing, but she shouldn't have said what she said when she was like, I normally don't like people with gingery features, you know. Then when she tried to address it, you know, he immediately deflected. And he likes to play semantics, like, oh, that's not what I said. Like, if it's not said exactly how he said it, yet it's the same meaning, he's not going to validate it. He's going to deny it. And the thing is that what he said wasn't and the thing, what I'm trying to say is that him also bringing up how she said this, that, and the other about not liking his gingery features, like, that was valid, but that wasn't the time to address it. Like, she had brought up a point and an issue for her. Let's address that first and not deflect to a whole nother issue. Like, let's address this, and then we can come back and address your problem with her and talking about gingery features and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with him that continuously calling someone ginger does have negative undertones. Like, now, of course, I'm not a redhead, and so I really can't speak to how that would make a redhead feels to hear, you know, to hear somebody consistently calling them a ginger. But just hearing how it rolls off of her tongue the way it does have a negative connotation to it. Like, it just comes across negative, like a ginger. Like, I said, oh, child. These women, this season are not here to play. Do you hear me? They are not here to play. So, we got Dawn. She the whole drill sergeant. Kirsten, baby, when her and Shaq had their disagreement, baby, she just looked like she just stared right through him, like she was finna bore a hole right through him. Gina, she is walking away, and oh, child, I'm just like, oh, goodness. You know, but yeah, Clint, I don't care for him. I don't care for Aries. So I just can't wait to see what else this season holds. But yeah, as far as Clint and Gina, I think they both were in the wrong. Both could have handled that situation a lot differently than they did. And, you know, I think at this point they're just kind of playing the blame game, and I feel like Clint likes to go tit for tat. I'm seeing that about him, just like how she was saying about his gingery features, then he came back with that slender, and like her walking off and how he's yelling behind her what she did, she that, and the other. Yeah, Clint likes to go tit for tat. Like, he's not mature at all either. But anyways, tell me you all's thoughts about this episode. I want to hear from y'all, of course. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to let me know that my YouTube family is good. Put that mirror emoji down in the chat and let me know, because I like to know that y'all are A-okay. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's all I got. Until next week, I'll pray for y'all. Y'all pray for me. Bye, y'all.